We can't always use the same exact colors as our clients have in their branding guidelines because sometimes for elements on screen like buttons or text, there just isn't enough text contrast for the content to be readable. But there are plenty of ways to increase text contrast while staying true to the brand. Let's look at some popular web apps. So here is Evernote. I ran the Lighthouse accessibility scanner on it, and I can see that it failed for low contrast text for this button up here, this start for free. I've recreated it here with the green that I picked up from the website and the white text. Let's see what Figma says the contrast ratio is. So I will select the text. I can go in here and Figma's telling me that the contrast ratio is 3.16 to 1, which fails for standard size text. So what can we do about it? There are a few things we can do. So I'll duplicate the button a couple of times so we can talk through them. The first thing we can do is let Figma tell us a color that does pass on this green background. So if you just select the text, open up the color palette here, and click on the accessibility icon, it says that here's a color that passes on the green. So that's one option. But what if we don't want to change the text color? What if we really want our button to have white text? So I have now selected the button background color. It's actually technically comparing the button color green to the background color of the frame here, which is white, but that's the same color as my text, so that's okay. I'll change the category to normal text, so it tells us if it's meeting the accessibility requirements, and it says that it doesn't. So let's click that again. So that's what Figma says is the closest screen to Evernote's screen that would pass. Let's put it right next to this button or right below it so we can see the difference. They look pretty similar to me, and I think if I were Evernote's brand team, I would be happy with this slight difference that means that we meet the accessibility requirements. Let's also look at HubSpot. So here is HubSpot's homepage. And again, I've run the Lighthouse accessibility checker on HubSpot, and these orange buttons up here have both failed for contrast ratio. So I've again recreated the HubSpot button in Figma. Let's check what the color contrast actually is. So it's 3.07 to 1. Let's again just duplicate this button a couple of times and see what our options are. So let's first try changing the text color. We'll see what Figma says passes. So it wants to make it, well, almost black. And let's see the closest background color is. So again, I'm just going to change the category to normal text and then click that button again. And the color it gave me is kind of far away from HubSpot's orange, so I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. Now, the third option is to actually increase the font size because the contrast ratio requirements for larger font sizes is only 3 to 1. And I know this is already 3 to 1, so I can just change the font size, which the minimum font size required is 18.5 pixels, and it has to be bold. And then I probably want to change the size of the button a little bit, maybe something like that. So let's see what that would look like on the HubSpot homepage. So I've included a screenshot of the homepage right here. And I'll zoom in a little bit more. And we'll just plop this button right on top. Let's do the same thing with this other button. I think that matches HubSpot's branding much more than just adjusting the text color or the background color there. So if I were HubSpot's brand team, I think this is the solution I would go with. So there you have it. There's a few different ways to get your text to meet accessibility contrast ratios. Follow us for more tips and insights on accessibility and usability, or visit our blog at uxteam.com.